If you've ever sat down to work, stared at the screen, and felt your brain just refuse to cooperate, this message is for you. Because what if the problem isn't your motivation? What if it's not discipline? And what if your brain isn't broken at all? What if it's simply been trained in the wrong direction? Most people believe focus is something you either have or you don't, that some people are naturally sharp, fast thinkers, and others just aren't. That belief is one of the biggest lies modern life has ever sold you. Focus is not a personality trait. It's not genetic destiny. It's not luck. Focus is a trained state of the brain. And right now, whether you realize it or not, your brain is being rewired every single day. The only question is, who's doing the wiring? Because everything you repeatedly expose your brain to, the way you start your mornings, the way you switch between tasks, the way you consume information, all of it is shaping how fast you think, how deeply you can concentrate, and how mentally sharp you feel throughout the day. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how focus actually works inside the brain, why most people are unknowingly destroying theirs, and how you can begin rewiring your brain for sharper focus and faster thinking starting today. This isn't about hacks, it's not about forcing productivity, and it's definitely not about willpower. It's about understanding the system and then using it in your favor. Let's start with something crucial that almost no one talks about. Your brain does not like to multitask. It tolerates it, and it pays a heavy price for doing so. Every time you switch tasks, checking your phone, opening a new tab, responding to a notification, your brain has to reorient itself. That reorientation costs mental energy. It creates friction, and over time, it trains your brain to crave novelty instead of depth. This is why so many people feel mentally tired but strangely unaccomplished at the end of the day. They were busy, but they weren't focused. Here's what's really happening. Your brain operates on neural pathways. The more you use a pathway, the stronger it becomes. The less you use it, the weaker it gets. When you constantly switch tasks, you strengthen shallow attention pathways. You train your brain to skim, to jump, to avoid sustained effort. And slowly, without realizing it, deep focus becomes uncomfortable, even painful. That's not a personal failure, that's conditioning. The good news, conditioning works both ways. To rewire your brain for sharper focus, you don't start by forcing yourself to concentrate longer. You start by removing the constant interruptions that are training your brain to stay distracted. This means one thing that sounds simple but feels hard: protecting your attention like it actually matters, because it does. Think of your attention like a muscle. If you keep tearing it in 10 directions at once, it never gets stronger. But if you give it controlled resistance, it adapts. One of the most powerful rewiring tools is single tasking. Not forever, not all day, but intentionally. Choose one important task, set a clear start and end time, and remove every unnecessary stimulus during that window. No phone, no background noise designed to grab attention, no constant checking. At first, your brain will resist. It will feel restless, bored, uncomfortable. That discomfort is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's proof you're retraining neural pathways that haven't been used in a long time. Another critical piece of rewiring your brain is how you start your day. Most people begin their mornings by flooding their brains with dopamine, notifications, social media, news, messages. This creates a spike, followed by a crash, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. Your brain learns that stimulation comes first and effort comes second. To rewire for sharper focus, flip the order. Do something cognitively demanding before consuming stimulation. It doesn't have to be extreme. reading something challenging, writing, planning, solving a problem. This tells your brain, effort first, reward later. Over time, this simple shift changes how your brain responds to work. Focus becomes easier because it's no longer competing with constant dopamine spikes. Now let's talk about thinking speed. Faster thinking doesn't come from hurrying, it comes from clarity. When your brain is overloaded with inputs, it slows down. Decision-making becomes harder. Memory becomes foggy. Thoughts feel scattered. One of the fastest ways to speed up your thinking is reducing cognitive clutter. This means fewer open loops, fewer unresolved decisions, fewer unnecessary choices. Write things down. Externalize thoughts. Don't force your brain to hold everything at once. Your brain is incredible at solving problems. It's terrible at storing them. When you offload information, you free up processing power. And suddenly, thinking feels faster, not because your brain changed, but because it's no longer overwhelmed. Another overlooked factor is recovery. Focus is not meant to be constant. Your brain works in cycles, periods of intense focus followed by rest. When you ignore rest, focus degrades, thinking slows, mistakes increase. Short breaks are not laziness, they're part of the system. Even a few minutes away from stimulation, walking, breathing, doing nothing, helps reset your brain's ability to concentrate. And finally, let's talk about identity. Your brain rewires itself based on what you repeatedly do, but also on what you believe about yourself. If you constantly say, "I'm bad at focusing," your brain listens. If you believe, "I'm easily distracted," your brain reinforces that pattern. Change the story. Instead of labeling yourself, focus on behaviors. I'm training my focus. I'm improving my attention. I'm getting sharper. This may sound subtle, but it matters. Your brain aligns with the identity you reinforce. Rewiring your brain for sharper focus and faster thinking is not about becoming someone else. It's about removing what's interfering with what your brain already knows how to do. Focus is your natural state. Clarity is your default. Sharp thinking is not rare, it's suppressed. And the moment you stop fighting your brain and start training it with intention, everything changes. If this message resonated with you, don't let it fade into the noise. Apply one thing you heard today, just one. And if you want more videos like this, videos that help you understand your mind and use it to your advantage, make sure you stay connected. Your brain is always rewiring itself. Make sure it's rewiring in the right direction.